Yellow Trailblazers, welcome back to the channel and another Honkai Star Rail video. So recently I've been testing the new Trailblazer added into this video game, Xuan. And as lots of you probably know by now, I am just a massive aficionado for anime girls with pink hair. Like back when I had to be homeless for 2 weeks, the one anime figurine I kept with me was my Koname Madoka figure. And honestly, I don't think I would have been motivated to continue making videos while not having a home without Madoka, as being homeless just kinda sucked more than I anticipated. Anyways, besides giving massive Madoka vibes, Fu Yuan also seemed powerful lore-wise, and as should be obvious by now, Honkai Star Rail is power crept based off its lore. Like the reason Danheng Altar and Silverwolf are the two best, most omnipotent trailblazers in the game right now is because they are shown to be the most powerful in the lore. Danheng is a dragon god thing, and Silverwolf is a hacker that puts fights on easy mode. And likewise, underpowered and underperforming trailblazers like Jing Yuan are shown to be very weak in the game's lore. And I know lots of Jing Sun aficionados are probably disagreeing with that statement, but Eango, he's a general of an entire planet, how can he not be strong in the lore? And I guess at a surface level analysis that makes sense and all, but if we actually take the time to more deeply analyze Jing's complex character, we see he is anything but powerful, and actually he's pretty insecure. Jeffrey Trong consistently avoids taking any responsibility as a leader and instead opts to send his 12-year-old retainer Yan King to do all the dangerous stuff for him, like going after Blade. Also, Fu Xuan does dangerous tasks in his stead as well, such as capturing Kafka or leading the Cloud Knights. Besides the battle against Phantalix, which I'll get to, can you honestly think of a time when Jing did, well, like anything of importance? Like the only time Jing So Young ever graces us with his flamboyant presence is through a hologram under the guise that he has more important matters to attend to. But the game never addresses why he's so preoccupied and why he needs to send Fu Xuan to do everything for him. Jing's need is just trying to maintain plausible deniability that he is doing stuff, and while most people in and outside the game are fooled and think, oh wow, Jing, our general, what a busy guy, we see the people who work closely with him are just not impressed. In all their interactions, Yan King consistently looks totally shocked that someone so incompetent is the leader of his planet, and he disrespects Jim so much that at one point he walks out on him midway through receiving orders.
I've asked our friends from the Express to take care of that for us. Worry not, you'll have your moment when the current stalemate is broken. You are my most trusted aide, and there are some things that I would only assign to you.
Yan King doesn't respect young Jing because he knows he would maul him with ease if given the chance. Anyways, Jimmy Wong eventually does begrudgingly show up in person when it comes time for the final battle, and you can just tell from his body language that he just doesn't want to be there. And unsurprisingly, during combat, Jimmy Kimmel ends up being a living, breathing liability, and Danheng has to bail him out in a major way. Yet he still has the audacity to proceed to make himself the center of attention by giving a performative closing speech. And we see the look on the other trailblazers either be confused or annoyed, like, hold on, you didn't do anything, who invited this guy? And overall, I think Jing's character was to show how confidence and presentation can get you very far in life despite lack of ability. Therefore, Jing Yuan being functionally one of the most underperforming, terrible trailblazers in the game is not by mistake, but by design. Anyways, my point is, Fu Xuan in contrast is shown to be a strong, independent, and capable woman in the game story that effectively does Jiminy's job for him. She truly came off to me as the antithesis of Jing Wang, and due to this, as well as the prevalent white Western feminist agenda that plagues Hoyoverse games, I and many others expected this character to be completely broken. I even went so far to start pre-farming for my Fu Xuan Eidolons by uploading a rage bait review on the new Bethesda video game Starfield. This is a one and done magic trick you can do as a YouTuber to get the most amount of money for the least amount of effort. Basically, you just upload a fake negative review a couple hours before the official reviews for a new hype video game comes out. Unfortunately, Starfield has ended up just not really living up to what it was promised and what it was anticipated to be. And I have to say, after hours of play, I just find the game to be severely unimpressive, underwhelming, unintelligent, and uninspiring. And effectively what happens is people find your fake review before the official ones from places like IGN. Also, I make sure to spam the video with as many ad breaks as possible. And if all goes well, you'll just have lots of people bully you, but you do make Eidolon farming mats off of it. It's kind of like going on the street with a sign saying, "Pay me $1 to call me autistic." That's probably not worth doing if only 100 people take you up on that, but if over 20,000 people queue for that line, then I think it is well worth. Anyways, what I'm saying is that I was really hoping having hundreds of people call me an autistic nerd incel would be worth it for securing my Fu X Yuan. Unfortunately, it gives me no pleasure to inform you all that after hours of testing, I have just found Xuan to be severely underpowered, underwhelming, unattractive, unintelligent, unperforming, and woefully unimpressive. And I have to say that I think this Trailblazer has been massively overhyped and overrated by the theory crafting community. So probably the main letdown from Xuan is just her inability to sustain the team by herself. Now, her sustainability will distribute 65% of the damage your team takes to her. But the problem with this is that this number isn't 100%, so your team is still going to take 35% damage. This basically means that all Xuan is doing is prolonging your team's eventual demise since she isn't actually healing them. And what this means is that you're going to need to run another healer unit on your team anyways with Xuan, so she's pretty much just a waste of your sustain slot. The next thing that makes Fu X1 totally abysmal is her highly inadequate crit rate buff of only 15%. This is just a complete joke when compared to the scaling of other buffing abilities such as Bronya's or Ting Sneed's. Basically, what I'm saying is that Fu X1 is half of a buffer who doesn't buff well, and half of a sustainer who doesn't sustain well. And you're just better off running more dedicated trailblazers to fill those roles as you need them. But the last, utterly irredeemable part about Fu X1's kit is her lack of a cleanse. Not being able to cleanse on your sustain roll is a massive disadvantage in the hardest of content, as a lot of the damage you take is actually from DOT. Like, lacking a cleanse is so bad that even though Bailu has amazing scaling and amazing numbers, she is objectively a D tier trailblazer due to lacking a cleanse. Majority of theory crafters do agree with me on this, and anyone who thinks Bailu is above a D tier just doesn't know how to win at this video game. Anyways, Fu X Yuan also cannot cleanse, and her scaling and numbers look even worse than Bailu's, which is a massive yikes. Overall, the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for Fu Xuan.